Welcome to Joint Effort PAs, where two orthopedic surgery PAs get real about life in medicine. From tips and tricks to professional growth, work-life balance, and everything in between. We're here to share what we've learned and what we're still figuring out. Let's get into it. All right, so we have a special guest with us today, Dr. John. He is here to talk about finances. So we're going to make this as exciting as possible because I think finances are something that, per Beth, our conversation before this, she likes to glaze over when they're brought up. And it's not something really brought up in school. They don't teach you about this and how to be good at it. Yeah.
So I'm good at being a provider. I'm good at science, but when it comes to financial stuff and understanding planning and all that, I swear it's a foreign language to me. So for those listening, this is a necessary, hopefully like a 45-minute solid. You might have to play it twice. Seriously.
Yeah. If you're like Beth and you glaze over.
I know. I'm going to have to rewind and go back because I need this. You guys all need this. Even if you don't think you need it, you do need it.
Yeah.
And we have an expert here with us today. So Dr. John, why don't you tell us a little bit about, first of all, what you do and how you got into medicine.
Yeah, so I'm a primary care sports medicine physician. So that means I did a family practice residency and then a sports medicine fellowship. My day-to-day, I'm treating non-operative orthopedic problems, sports concussion. Later today, covering a high school football playoff game. So that's what I do day by day.
Great. Now orthopedics, just again for our listeners here, what got you into orthopedics? Personal experience, preference?
Well, I'm an ex-jock, love sports, wanted to do sports medicine since I was in high school, with my injuries, my buddies' injuries, things like that. Actually wanted to be a pediatrician first, and then as I got injured and stuff, which kind of makes sense if you guys know what I see and stuff. So, but I did want to do orthopedic surgery. I was dead set on doing orthopedic surgery, going into medical school. But as time went on, I just learned I liked surgery. I didn't love it. I didn't even know about what I do now. I actually met a doc in med school. I was like, that's cool. I'm still being a surgeon.
Did you ever see, you mentioned you were an athlete. Did you ever see a sports medicine DO for your injuries? Because I never did.
No, not at all.
It was. I feel like it wasn't a thing. It was your pediatrician or the specialist, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's all surgeons I dealt with. I mean, as far as osteopathic medicine, I didn't even really know about that until I started applying to medical school and stuff. So.
Awesome. So let's first touch on the income expectations and debt expectations for coming out of school, both for PAs and for physicians. So I'll let you take the reins a little bit with the data you found.
First and foremost, okay, just kind of to say this, we got to put a disclaimer out there. All right. I am not a licensed accountant, attorney, financial advisor. This discussion is for information and entertainment for your audience. And it shouldn't be considered individualized financial advice. All right. So we're going to just go over basic kind of things here. All right. Just so a lot of basic concepts, high yield things. All right. That I think anybody should really be aware of. All right. So it's just important for financial literacy. I'm a firm believer in this. I do teach medical students and I really get into this with them as well. Because it's important. You're going to earn a high income and you really need to know what to do with it. And at the same time, financially literate, a financially healthcare provider, that the person that is, in healthcare, if your finances are good, that gives you a lot of flexibility and freedom. And it's one less thing to worry about.
Yeah. Well, just again, disclaimer on my end. I'm going to refer to you as my financial advisor.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually,
I respect everything you're going to say, and I understand it's not your specialty, but the fact that you are one of us talking about stuff that we all should talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I did a little research before coming here because, I know a lot of the physician numbers. I don't really know the PA numbers, right? So the average student debt for a physician assistant is $86,000 to $130,000.
It is.
And that's over a short period of time.
Yeah.
So that's over 2 years or maybe 2 years and 2 months.
So the average, physician debt is somewhere between 200,000 to 600,000.
600,000.
Yeah, can you imagine?
Oh my God. I'm sweating.
I mean, I hope that it's all relative,
Yeah.
right? You would assume that it is.
And
yeah,
that's
a
for
big number.
But let's say, so for you, right? So you went to DO school, that's
Right.
4 years, okay? And let's compare that to PA school, half the amount of time, right? And then let's say orthopedic surgery, you're going for 4 years, then you're doing a residency, and then perhaps you're doing a fellowship. So we're talking 4 years.
Yeah,
plus.
but that's just when it comes to residency, you're earning money,
Making money, right?
but
right.
You're making the standard of living. That's actually how resident salaries are set up. It's the standard of living for the area that you're in.
Yeah.
So you're not making a great salary in residency compared to what you're going to make when you're attending and stuff. But so you're not paying for that.
Yeah.
But if you're not paying off your loans, those loans are starting to compound and pile up on themselves. So as far as, we're talking big numbers here.
Yeah.
Right. So that right there is the albatross that hangs on most of our necks. It's not there's some, fortunate individuals that get their meds, their med schools
don't have to pay for that.
Or their PA schools, paid for, whether it's, through scholarships. There's some, actually, I think there's a school in New York where it's free tuition.
Oh.
Yeah, NYU's free tuition.
For what? Like, what do you have to do
medical school?
To earn
what do you have to
that?
do? Hannah wants to go.
Yeah, like to get
No, it's
just if you get in, it's free.
You apply. It's highly competitive.
Yeah,
for that reason,
oh,
right?
Geez.
So,
well, yeah.
Yeah. So, and that contrast that to what you're making right out of school, right? So the new grad salary for a PA is around $105,000. All right, for a physician, big range, $250,000 to $520,000, but really that's that specialty.
Yep.
That's going to put you where on that spectrum is. It's also location too. So it's weird. It's like when it comes to healthcare, you can actually get paid more in living in a lower cost of living
rural
area.
providers. Yes,
Yeah.
rural providers.
Yep.
If you're the only game in town, they actually will pay more versus inner city like Raleigh or New York City. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you deal with all the hiring
Yeah,
and things like
and
that. So
so-
these numbers look
Yeah, so that's
right?
really funny you say that
Yeah.
because expectation wise, I think new providers come into the PA profession wanting the average, and an average for, an experienced PA would be upwards of 110, 115 and 105, sometimes like, oh, that's it. Like, yeah. I mean, as we've talked about before, you're taking a risk on someone who has just been a student in a student setting. And I will compare that to DO or MD, like you do 2 years of kind of rotating through seeing patients. PAs do 1 year, and it's like a snapshot of each little thing. So I don't know. I think, 105, 105, not 120 starting salary. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So one thing that I think physicians have actually an advantage compared to you guys is public student loan forgiveness. Okay. When it comes to, that's out there. There's a whole bunch of different programs. I'm not going to get into that there, but the basics are if you work for in an underprivileged thing or a nonprofit hospital, government job for 10 years, you can get your student loans, forgiven now.
Like they just go away.
Well, they get wiped out, right? So,
Sounds nice.
but the thing is where physicians have this advantage is because of residency. All right. So those years in residency, if they're working for a nonprofit, hospital, those years can count. All right. And, residencies can be anywhere from 3 to 7 years. Fellowships can be anywhere from a year to 3 years. Potentially a neurosurgeon, right, who's making
Buku.
the upper ends of things, it's a 7-year residency. Okay.
Yeah.
Pass.
3 years,
And you're done.
they're done.
Yeah. It's
They
amazing.
can get things wiped out like that.
Oh my gosh.
So whereas most PAs coming out, you guys are not really working in those
Yeah.
situations. A lot of PAs are working primarily in private practices, not, for-profit kind of places, for-profit businesses and things like that. So it's, these are big numbers. And I mean, the bottom line is when you're coming out of school, you have to have a plan.
I didn't have a plan.
I developed a plan. So I'm going to shoot back to you, Dr. John, for a second. Yeah. Did you, how did you finance your medical school?
Through
loans,
through federal loans for the most part. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. And then those were transferred to you, let's say, like from your parents or something like that.
No, it was when
it came
to med school. It was all under me. Okay. It was all under me.
So you graduated, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm a doctor, and I also owe a crap ton of money." Okay, so I guess Hannah, what was your course?
Yeah, my parents did that was like always the agreement for everybody in our family was undergrad. They paid for, or like they took out loans for, and they were paying those, and then anything like graduate degree and beyond. So I took all the graduate student loans, like federal loans, out under my own name. And in my mind, my dad's an accountant, so like. I have no excuse for not being well versed in this, but much like yourself, like we have these conversations and I'm just like zoning out.
Yeah, drifting 5 seconds away.
In. Yeah, drifting and but we did have these conversations on the front end as far as like this is what you're going to expect to make after it. This is what you're going to expect to come out with in debt, and like this is going to be your plan coming out. Whether or not I've adhered to that is questionable. We did
the same thing. We had a weak kind of finance kind of thing in medical school, and like we're dealing with other things. Like we're trying to learn.
It's not your interest.
So like I'm trying to study for like this anatomy class.
Yeah, throw your head in the sand. Like I'll deal with this later on. All that stuff. And this is like it. There are emotional things.
Yeah.
That come up, with this, and a lot of people, want to shy away from it and pretend it's not there a lot.
Yeah.
You know? So, but it is.
Yeah. I took out, I did all federal loans, and I went to school in the Bronx. So I took out a private loan for like living expenses. And I remember after the first year, because it was like 2 years plus after the first year and paying to live in the Bronx, I was like, oh, I think I need a roommate. And I remember going on like, at the time it wasn't online. It was like the, like the penny pincher. And I met this lady, and her name was Peaches. And I was like, do I need to live with Peaches to save so much? No, I walked in and she showed me like her place and I walked out. But anyway, no, I had quite some debt because it was a private school, which it was more expensive than a public school, but same thing. I came out of that quite a catch with a huge debt. So yeah.
Are you done now?
I am done now.
Oh my God, congrats.
Yeah, my at the time, my boyfriend, which turned into my fiance, which turned into my husband, I remember him co-signing on my loans, and my mom was like, he's a keeper.
That was the sign.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, my wife, she nearly threw up when I told her what
I know.
Was. Yeah, she's very good and with these things, and she couldn't believe what the number was.
You're like, here's my baggage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And public student loan forgiveness was not a thing, when I was graduating too. This is something that's come on, in the last ballpark, I think 10, 15 years. So, it's not something so I had to pay all mine back as well too. So
are you done?
Yeah, I am done.
Congrats.
I am done.
Nowhere close.
But you're in the very early part.
I'm in the early stages of it, and I don't know that I'll call it a disadvantage. It's only a disadvantage because I was, I did things not the way I should have done them if I was looking back at it. But being a COVID baby or a COVID PA student, we had the freeze on loan paybacks. So when I immediately graduated, I didn't have to pay back loans. And it does take several months. I can't remember from my time of graduating to when I actually got my first paycheck. There's a decent gap of time between those two events happening. So in my mind, I was like, well, of course I'm not going to make payments yet because I don't have to. And I also don't have an income. And then when I did start having an income, I could have, I suppose, made the payments, but it was like collecting interest. So I didn't. Instead, I saved more. So my strategy at the time, which I guess is fine, I don't know going back if I would do it different or not, was get my financial. So I did get a financial advisor. Our school set us up with company, and they matched us with financial advisors. And so I met with them a couple of times. They did advise me to start paying them down, but they also said going ahead and collecting like your nest egg of your savings account so that you have that baseline set, and then throwing as much as you can into your loans after you already have that like safety net set. I think I set my safety net and then I just like didn't make payments on my student loans until I had to. Well, there was my first mistake.
Well, okay. So cue Dr. John. Yeah. Dr. John, educate us.
Yeah. So I think the first thing you need to know is what is the number, right?
Yeah.
Like you need to know what the number is. What is the actual, loan balance? You need to know your interest rate too. Okay.
Yeah. And they're all over the place if you have multiple federal.
Yeah.
Like I have 11 or 12 different federal
and
loans.
there's things you can consolidate things. You can refinance, and I would strongly recommend anybody with these loans, especially you guys who are going to be paying them back, to constantly look at what potential refinance rates are. All right. Compounding interest is a great thing if you're letting it work for you. And we'll get to that probably in a little bit about as far as investing is concerned, but it will also work against you tremendously as well. So if you know what your interest rate is and you can find, somebody to refinance your loans at 1% lower, that makes a huge difference in what you're going to be paying back.
And I don't know what my fear has been with that. So like,
it's
maybe we
almost
should
like
talk about like pluses and minuses of doing that, because for some reason I have an irrational fear of refinancing my student loans. And I don't know if this comes from like, I had talked to people at one point about, what if, they will like freeze them, right? If you don't have an income all of a sudden, then you can like request to not make payments on them. I don't know that you can do that with private loans. And then the whole thing at one point about like, they're going to forgive something with federal loans that isn't actually happening.
So are you like waiting? I don't know if it's a fear. I think part of you is waiting to be like, for them to pay this back.
Yeah, exactly. For them to be like, actually, everybody who decided to go into the very admirable career of being a physician assistant, we're going to forgive all of your loans. Now, I don't want to be like, crap, I just paid them all off. Like,
hate
damn.
to break it out. That's not happening.
Yeah. So go ahead and refinance. Yeah.
So I will say that I'm going to throw out some, and as we talk some more, I'm going to throw out more resources out there. So there is it used to be a blog. It has a podcast. They have a website. White Coat Investor is where I started with my financial awakening, if you will.
Financial awakening.
Right. And they have a lot of resources. And one of the resources that they do have is loan financing. So and they have a number of different companies that do that. And sometimes, it's not, a lot of these times, it's not going to cost you a thing. In fact, sometimes they'll actually throw you money.
Right. You were saying that to me before, like you get a little bonus or something for
It does. I'm reading it right now. Yes.
And then like you would also, like you can like flip between some, right? Like if you want to refinance again because someone gives you a better thing.
You can refinance, say you have loans at like 6% and you can get a rate for 5%. And then 2 years later, you find a rate for 4%. Like keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hannah, what are you waiting for?
I don't know. Like today, I guess. This is the day that I should look into this.
This weekend.
Yeah. I have one sitting as high. Like I have a pretty sizable chunk that's sitting at like close to 8%.
Yeah. That's something you need to get.
You need to get on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
I just wanted to, there's other things that I think everybody needs to be aware of. I like to say they're the financial vital signs, so net worth is a term that gets thrown out there, and it's like, what the heck is what's your net worth? You go on Wikipedia and you see a celebrity and you see their net worth.
I know mine right now. Oddly enough, I logged into our company retirement thing yesterday, and it tells you, because like I have all my assets and stuff plugged in, and then it knows like I had given at one point my student loan numbers. If anybody is curious.
I know. I did just get an email from them.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. So you can, if you have this stuff plugged in, I have negative net worth.
And something to celebrate is getting back to broke.
Yeah.
You know.
So when I get to zero net worth,
Yeah.
We'll have a party.
Yeah. And that's for most people going to grad school, medical school, PA school. Like most people do have a negative net worth. But how do you calculate your net worth? You need to get all your assets together. What's in your bank account? What's in your 401k? What's in your investments if you have a brokerage? What's the equity in your home? Then you also have to subtract, though. You subtract what you owe. You subtract your student loans. You subtract what you owe on your car. You subtract what you owe on your credit cards. That's how net worth is calculated. So one nice exercise, I do this every year. All right. I do this in the beginning of January every year. I calculate my net worth. And it's a cool little exercise if you're good about this, because you can see over time how your net worth increases, and that lets you know if you're on the right track or not.
Oh, this is like your January reset net worth night.
I just consolidated, I think my 401k from my last company, which I left, by the way, 10 years ago. I just had rolled it over into my current one because, again, finances scare me so much. I think I was on a maternity leave and my mom's like, how can I help you? And I was like, can you log into my 401k and switch it over? Because I don't even want to think about it. I literally just did that. That was a huge step for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
But I'm not really ready to look at my net worth. But I think, I mean, the negative 20,000, that scares
You're
me.
probably not as negative as I am.
I don't think I'm as negative because I don't really have any debt. So
Okay.
You're
probably
all right.
positive
So
net worth.
What other
other vital signs?
Yeah, other vital signs.
Your burn rate, which is basically your expenses. Okay.
Ooh,
yeah, nobody likes to do this. Yeah,
that's yucky.
What is it? And you always you can kind of go through it yourself and kind of do things, and you're definitely underestimating what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
So there are things out there that you can do it the old school paper and pencil way of just kind of pulling out your credit card statements and your bank accounts and going through that, line by line. But there are things that are out there that can make it a lot easier. There's programs like You Need a Budget. Dave Ramsey has a thing. I use Copilot. So it basically, you put all your credit card info in there, you put your bank account info in there, and it basically keeps track of things. The only thing I have to do is sometimes periodically throughout the month, it's like, well, what is that expense? So I have to classify that expense. So this way I know where all our money is going at all times. And that is an easy way to kind of just truly give you what your expenses are.
Do you have, this is a little bit of a diversion. Do you have a shared bank account with your spouse?
I do.
Do you have another bank account that's your own bank account?
I do not.
Asking for a friend. No, just asking.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's a whole other thing, right?
Oh,
so let's say
we can get into the benefits
that's a whole other thing.
There's benefits of both of doing it both ways. I have friends that have separate accounts, and I have friends that everything's joint.
But when you add another person to your expenses, I mean, it's I don't say it's easy because I don't think it's easy, but it's one thing to track your own. But then once you have other, let's say liabilities, but other people, your spouse, and then your kids, those expenses, like you said, you are underestimating.
Oh yeah.
However you're doing it, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, you want to get into spouses and stuff. My wife, her eyes glaze over with this too.
Me too. Okay.
Completely.
Makes me happy.
So, but what I do for her every quarter, I give her a printout. I actually print it out, and I kind of say, this is where all the accounts are and all that kind of stuff. So she kind of knows where everything's going and stuff.
So again,
organized,
my financial advisor, John, that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to start talking out like that.
Yeah.
That's really responsible. It's very responsible. So quarterly. So do you think at any point in time, and again, holiday season coming up, you know where you sit going into vacation season,
right?
Absolutely. You know where you sit going into the summer. You know where you sit going into holiday time.
Yeah.
It's really smart.
Yeah. So when we splurged on Disney, a couple of weeks ago when we were on our fall break, and,
you planned it.
Yeah, we planned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can feel better about it.
I'm going to spring for the Buku Lightning Pass this time around. She was like, okay, yeah, that's fine.
I bet it was worth it.
Go.
Oh, it was.
It was worth it.
It was. Yeah. And she's frugal. Like I am blessed with a frugal wife. I will say that.
That's good.
So,
Yeah.
That's good.
yeah. Savings rate is our other vital sign. So what percentage of your income are you actually putting towards savings or investing?
Can you classify that? Like, is that you're talking 401k stuff?
Yes.
You're talking any?
So your addition, like, so
Yeah.
what are you doing? What are you putting towards your 401k each year? What are you putting towards other investments every year? What are you putting towards an emergency fund? You know, that this all kind of goes under the savings / investment umbrella. Okay. So I'm going to throw another thing out there for you. Okay. Another resource. There is a community called the FIRE community, which stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. Okay. So there are people that are really looking to basically get to financial independence, and we'll get to that in a second. What the heck is that? And basically retire, right? So the guru of this, the guy, one of the first pioneers of this is a guy called Mr. Money Mustache. Okay.
I'm sorry, say that one more
Mr.
time.
Money Mustache.
That's what I thought you said.
Okay. And one of the articles blogs that he wrote is all throughout the FIRE community in the sense of it's called the shocking simple math to early retirement. And it basically goes over like, what would your savings rate be and how many, if you had a 90% savings rate, it would take this many years to retire. So it's a cool exercise to kind of go through,
Okay. So pulse check.
Yeah.
Do you guys all want to retire early?
I don't.
I don't either.
I don't either.
Yeah.
So like when I think about this, people are like,
but what's early? Like, what would you say if someone was like, I'm retired, like 65 plus, right? Would be retirement age. So what would be early? Like is 64 early? Like,
well, I would say anything before 59 is early, because 59 is 59 and a half. 59 and a half is the age where you can get into your 401k without taking penalty.
that sounds so young to me.
it does sound really young to me. So.
Yeah. Like when I picture myself here, I also have the issue that like, I also can't picture myself working and being like really old.
But what's your definition of really old?
I don't know, like where I'm like decrepit or something.
Well,
it could be next year. I don't know.
well, if you keep reading your net worth, it might be next year.
I was going to say, yeah.
But retire. Okay. But if your plan is to like, let's say retire early next endeavor,
Right.
So that would be ending this chapter, starting another one.
Moving on
That's kind of
something
cool.
else.
Yeah.
Some people do that. I mean, some people like have a passion for I don't know, woodworking or something like that. They can, so what does it mean to be financially independent? That's probably the next question.
Yes.
Here. Well, you need your burn rate.
Oh God, that's so uncomfortable to talk about.
Yeah.
It's like looking in the mirror and like
Yeah.
saying something to yourself.
I mean, my bank has like a little thing off to the side and it'll tell you like, this is your monthly, like how much comes in and how much goes out.
You need to know what your life costs.
Yeah.
So there through some actual studies, they've actually kind of figured this out in the sense that with a 60-40 portfolio, what does that mean? 60% stocks, 40% bonds.
I've heard that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you get that number as far as how much you have in that to 25 times your annual expenses,
Okay.
you are technically financially independent. Because what you can do is you can pull money off of that portfolio at 4%, and through studies they actually figured this out. Like you will be fine as far as like not running out of money after 30 years.
So having enough income from your investments, aka starting early, be smart about it to cover your future expenses, but not having to work.
Right.
What if your future self isn't super frugal?
So that's
though?
what I struggle with. Like, what if my future self just doesn't want to slow down? What if my future self is a lazy mother, right?
What if my future self still wants to go to Starbucks every morning?
Yeah. Well, you have to invest money now because your future self needs to cover all your expenses.
My current self is
Okay,
going
or
to
your current
Starbucks every
self.
morning.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other problem.
So, okay. So white coat investor, I'm still stuck on that. I'm going to spend a lot of time on that website. I
Yeah.
am. Yeah.
Yep. They have a podcast too.
Okay. Wow.
Oh,
Just a couple of concepts that are really important. I would ask you guys to just go into an investment calculator online. All right. And just pick an arbitrary number, $500 a month, $100,000 a month, some type of number there, and see what happens over time to how much that grows. Because I was telling you how compound interest is, if you let it work for you, it is incredible. All right. Yeah. If you give it time. All right. So the best time to invest is yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, why didn't I already do it?
And the next time is today.
You'll probably enjoy this information then. So I accumulated, like I said, my nest egg was my initial, like, save X amount for 6 months of living expenses and everything. I don't know what it was. Saved that. It was just sitting in my bank account, savings account. And my dad, the accountant, he's like, why don't you have that in a high yield savings account? And I'm like, what is a high yield savings account? And he's like, oh my God, like all of your money has been sitting in there and like you haven't been making anything off of it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And his first step was then to go, he's like, I'm going to show you how much money you lost last year by not having it in a high yield savings
that's
account.
powerful.
Yeah.
That's
so I have a high yield now.
No, it's great.
Step one.
That's great. So, I mean, just to kind of throw some crazy numbers at you right now, right? So I've been in practice now for 15 years. Okay. And my 401k has 4x to what I put in.
Wow.
That's a lot. Wow. That's good for future you.
Yeah. So, and that's just 15 years.
Yeah.
It gets even, even more impressive.
More.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah. We think linearly. We don't think exponentially.
Yeah.
That's how compounding interest works.
Yeah. I'm literally Googling compound interest right now.
What does compound interest mean?
Interest on interest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. So, like, how do you go about doing it? Well, Hannah, what you were told was, and what you did initially is the exact like first step of what you want to do. Okay. Where you said, before you started paying your loans, you got some savings in place here. So there's a thing called the financial order of operations. All right. And I will give credit to these guys. There's another podcast. All right. The Money Guy Show. It's actually two financial advisors that do this podcast, and they've created this thing called the financial order of operations. So where does each dollar go? Okay. So the first thing, all right, this is you want to have enough money saved to cover your highest deductible. Auto, medical, whatever it is, have that there. That's going to keep you out of like the ditch.
Yeah.
All right. So when bad things happen. All right. So once you've gotten that, then you definitely want to start getting any match from your employer for your 401k, because that's essentially free money.
My dad told me that.
Yeah, that is dad advice. That
if your employer is doing a 4% match, 3% match, that get it. Yeah. All right. You don't have to necessarily go higher than that, but get that, because that's easy. That's 100% return on your investment right there.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you want to pay off high interest debt. Okay. So what is high interest debt? Well, it really depends on your age.
It's everything Hannah has.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. So if you're in your 20s, anything over 6% is high interest.
What if you're in your 30s?
Anything over 5%.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Pretty much all my loans.
Because again, it's that compounding. It's that compounding working against you. Now, like, what's the rationale of that, right? So when you're in your 20s, if it's 5%, well, it's better that you put your money working for you, because it's probably going to compound at a higher interest rate.
Yeah, you have more time.
You have more time. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So get the debt off the table. So everything that you just need to get rid of it, because again, that's more things chipping away at you, for your net worth. Once you get there, then you really should start working on building an emergency fund. So again, you need to know your burn rate, right? So what are you spending each month? So the recommended emergency fund is anywhere between 3 to 6 months of your expenses.
Where do you put that? Like in a savings account?
In a high yield savings account.
High yield savings
You want to
account
put that in a high
lives.
yield savings account. So that's that's the next kind of
Like,
step.
don't touch that money.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch
Don't touch it. That's there for you lose your job. That's there if the HVAC goes out.
It did this summer at my
Oh
house.
my God.
That's what that's for. And then, if you need to chip into it, then you need to build it back up again to where that is. 3 to 6. 3, if you're married, your spouse has, your spouse has a job, you have 2 incomes coming in, you could probably get closer to that 3 month. If you're the only one, right? If you're the only one making money for the family or yourself, like, you really need 6.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah.
They're big numbers.
Yep. Then, all right. So there's all these, like, this alphabet soup of, like, investments, right? There's 401k, there's 403b, but there's also things called IRAs. Okay. So IRAs are individual retirement accounts. Okay. So these are made for people who don't necessarily have a 401k. Some jobs don't have that, right?
Yeah.
So it allows, the government gives us, these options. Now, there's 2 types of IRAs. There's a traditional IRA, which means that you don't get taxed on the money going into it. But when you pull it out, you're going to get taxed on what you pull out. So there are income limits of when if you can contribute to that or not, whether or not you get that tax deduction. That's a whole nother thing here. But the big thing is the other IRA is a Roth IRA, which means that you put money in, you've already been taxed on that money. When you pull it out, you don't get taxed on it.
That sounds good.
That sounds very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next step in things is putting money into a Roth IRA.
Doesn't that max out? Can't you only put so much
yes,
into a Roth
you can.
IRA?
Yeah.
I
So
learned
that changes. That
Learned
changes. Yeah, that changes year to year. The maximum, I believe, for 2025 is $7,000 per person.
Yep.
And the next part of that step is contributing to a health savings account. Okay.
Don't do that. Yeah.
All right. Now, health savings accounts are pretty nifty if you kind of go about it the right way, in the sense that you need, first and foremost, you need a high deductible health insurance plan. If you don't have a high deductible, you don't qualify for an HSA. Okay. But you can take so money that goes into an HSA does not get taxed. Okay. And if you pull it out for medical expenses, it doesn't get taxed either. All right. But what you can also do with an HSA is you can invest that money, and then it can make more than what you put in. Right.
Yeah.
And then you can pull it out and for qualified medical expenses and not get taxed on it. The interesting thing is there's no timeline on this. And you can keep track of your medical expenses. Say there was some type of surgery that you had this year. Down the road, 20 years, you kept the receipts on that. You can pull it out 20 years down the road and not get taxed on it. After you fill those buckets, then you can max out your 401k. There is a top number of how much you can put in your 401k. And then after that, then you can really look into doing more savvier investments and just investing in a brokerage account.
So do you rely on a financial advisor to help you with investments? No. Okay. Let's get into that.
No.
So what do you do? How do you find the right ones?
So I think there are like 3 different types of people. There are people who are hardcore into this, like myself, right? Yes. Who really feel comfortable with it after they've really dove deep into it. The DIYers, all right? Then there's the validators, okay, who kind of like this, but they feel like they need somebody to help them out and overlook their shoulder and say, okay, you're doing this correctly and all that stuff. And then there's just like people who don't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah. What about the disabled ones like myself?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't even know what I don't know.
I guess the thing to realize is that the advisors that people use, you have to be careful about it.
I know. I feel like it's a sleazy thing.
In some ways it is.
Yeah.
In some ways it is. And I think
like they make money on giving you good advice about your money. I don't like that.
So there's a couple of different fee structures for advisors, right? They can do assets under management as their fee. All right. And if there's a lot of people out there doing it, and some of the assets under management that they're charging is criminal. Okay. 1-2%. Well, again, go into your calculator
and see what that
and
is.
see what an 8% return is over 30 years compared to a 7% return.
Oh, that 1% difference. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a big chunk of things. Okay. There are other ways that some advisors do is fee only. So they charge a flat rate and that's it. Right. So if you're going to use an advisor, I would prefer that you use somebody like that.
Fee only.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is you really don't need one. All right. Until you get your assets to a decent place. All right. The accumulation, to be honest, like this is actually fairly simple. Okay. But it's difficult. Okay. It's difficult mindset wise to do it.
Yeah.
You know, the other things you have to worry about with advisors too is what are they selling you?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how are they getting paid on what they're selling you? Because some of them are making money on commissions of different products that they're selling you too. And they may believe it's good for you, but you know, it might not be in your best interest with things too.
Yeah.
So the classic thing is whole life insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there is a need for whole life insurance in some cases, but the vast majority of times people don't really need it.
And I think it's fair to say too, like that is one of those things that like, yes, if you really feel you need the help in that area, but if you're willing to like put in the work yourself to do it, I mean, you can save significant amounts of money on not having to pay someone to do that for you.
Yeah. I mean, you're breaking it
it
down in a way that sounds very simple, but I also feel like that's not like, I feel like a new PA grad, MD, DO.
Right.
I feel like that's a whole different shift in how you think, unless you've got a real good personal interest in it.
Yeah.
So
And I will say this: there is no hobby that is more profitable.
God, it's true. It's true.
Yeah, but you have to. Like,
I guess crocheting is on hold.
Crocheting is on hold. You have to like when you come out and you're focused on all these other things, like just being good at your job and like I don't know, like being awake enough to be productive at work in the morning. Yeah, I mean, it's like it kind of takes a back burner to things, but it is, I think, something that new grads don't like. You know it before you come out, but you don't know it until you see it. Like I knew what my number was going to be debt-wise coming out, and I knew what my income was going to be, and still somehow when like I started getting the bills for my student loan payments, I was like, this doesn't make sense anymore. Like, what did I do? Because, I mean, you'll come out with over $100,000 in debt as a PA, potentially. Your income is, what do they say, 105 starting average. Just full transparency, like which maybe, and I will go and fix this very soon. I need to refinance. But my monthly minimum payment is like significantly more than my mortgage was.
Yeah.
It's $1,800 a month.
Yeah, you have
so
to
just
fix
like
that.
swallow that number, $1,800 a month. If you think about how much you're going to make, say, you get paid every other week like we do, that is a good chunk. Like you're living tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's because your interest rate's so damn high.
My interest rates are so damn high right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully I can get that down. Now we also have to talk about protecting your income. As you have said, this being our value, our asset, because if I don't have the income to support any of these things, Yeah.
So it's insurance, right? So there's disability insurance. I think as healthcare providers, we all need this. Okay. This is your income. This is your most valuable asset. This is your ability to make money, right? But if something happens to you to where you can't do that anymore, you need something to come in. So I would encourage everybody to get a disability policy. White Coat Investor, another plug for them as well too. They have a bunch of reputable people that that you can look into. And then there's term life. So this is if you something happens and you lose your life, this gets paid out to your dependents. You don't necessarily need life insurance unless you have other people living.
I was going to say, if you don't have dependents, then like what?
Just asking for a friend.
For a friend.
Yeah.
What is life insurance? Do
so
for you?
so that
Nothing.
now and it's term life insurance, not whole life insurance. So you buy a policy for 20 years. Hopefully, you never need to use it.
Yeah,
Yeah. People look at insurance as like, oh, but like, if you never use it, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
it is. And then, but I think about it and I'm like, ugh, I'm just paying this premium every month for something. But like the second I don't pay it, that,
But it's hard though for like, especially let's say millennials or whoever's coming out of school right now, like they just don't think like that. Like nothing's going to happen to me. Like that's, that's a very common thought.
I don't know if it's just, I think it's not just millennials.
Okay. Well, I'm just deflecting from me.
yeah.
Right. I'm deflecting off of me.
I think that way.
But
I think that's a normal,
I do, but
thought.
I think it's important to hear this and hear you say that just because if you look at the 10,000-foot view, which you're not, when you're out of school, you're like invincible, right? You're like, oh my God, I'm like, I'm a provider now, but you're not thinking about that type of stuff because it'll all go away if something, really bad happens.
Yeah.
So you're like suggesting, having, I guess, additional disability insurance on top of like what a typical person, what your job would offer.
Yeah, what your job offers. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's not something I have.
So, and that's where you guys are going to hate this again. You guys are going to hate this again.
I don't know,
but like figuring out what your life costs, like that is such a huge thing because a lot of the things like, well, what kind of policy do I need? How much do I need it to cover? Like, you need to know that.
Yeah.
You need to know that. Because you need to know where the start is, where the starting point is.
Dr. John, do you have extra disability insurance?
Of course he does.
Oh yeah, that's a silly question.
Yeah.
So question, it sounds like you have paid off your loans, which is great.
Right.
School loans. I don't know about the rest of your loans. What was something really cool that you bought? Like, did you celebrate by buying something or did your frugal wife not let you?
Was it a lightsaber?
Yeah. And I guess this comes down to like, I think a huge point here is living below your means, right? I don't need a lot, so I'm not really, I don't splurge on things. I think the biggest things that I do is for trips,
Yeah. So going places.
Like going places and things. So, when it comes to those things, those are the things that are important to me. Okay. Yeah. I don't need, we got some of our doctors in our practice they're driving, their cars and they're, pretty high end stuff. I will drive my Toyota 4Runner into the ground.
Mm-hmm. I want one so bad.
Yeah. I will drive it I'm going to drive it for 10 years.
Yeah. I've had 2 4Runners.
Right. So it's not, I just want it to go. All right.
Yeah.
So like those big expenses are not that important to me.
So investing in your happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we do.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I invest in my sanity daily. I tell myself
that's a good one.
I'm investing in this purchase right now because I might be sent over the edge if I don't have it. Do you ever have a bad day and you just like go to Target and you're like, I deserve this?
I actually have, and then I'll bring something home, and the next day I'm like, that was dumb, and I've returned it. Just in the moment, I was like, you need something right now, and again, it doesn't do it for me. Like
it's a
physical
dopamine.
things do not give me that type of satisfaction.
No,
it does not.
No, when it comes to, but if it's doing stuff with my family,
time.
time.
Time. It's
like,
valuable.
That's the big thing that's the most important to me. And I'm in the messy middle too with my son and things like that. So like doing those things that I'm not going to get a chance to do, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
One other question. So if you could go back, so this is for anybody, starting out, if you could go back and do one thing different, like from a financial aspect, let's make this broad. If you could go back and do one thing different in your life,
I have it for you. I know exactly what it is. I would have never bought a house coming out of med school right away.
Okay. Why?
How soon out of med school did you buy a house?
Pretty much
right when you're done.
Right when I was done.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Now I did it with the expectation. So I stayed at my medical school for residency. Mm-hmm. All right. So I did it with the expectation of like, I'm going to buy this place. I'm going to rent it out.
Smart.
Okay. And I learned very quickly in my fellowship, I actually had to go. I went to a different place, but I still had the house and I had buddies rent it.
Oh, you did? Okay, so you did
Okay.
that.
I did do that, but I learned that in that year, I did not. These were my friends.
Yeah,
and
you
I
lost
didn't,
your friends.
I didn't have the stomach to rent, you know, and,
Yeah.
and there's, you know, you can get into all things about real estate and stuff. And there are many different paths to accumulating wealth and things like that. But like renting, I learned that renting wasn't for me. So I would have never rented that house. I bought that house at the top of the market in 2008.
Oof.
Okay. 2007, more like it, and lost money on it. You know, and one of the things that, you know, we give, you know, that's out there, that the Dr. Dolly, who's the doctor that runs the White Coat Investor, is like, he's not a big fan of buying a house right out of medical school. You know, it's like, you're going to be in this place for three to 7 years. You don't make money on a house unless you have been in it for at least 5 to 8 years. You know, and then there are times like my time when I bought it at the top of that housing market that crashed.
Yeah.
So I actually ended up losing money on that house when everything was all said and done. So that is my biggest financial faux pas. But
Biggest regret in life.
Now, when you are, let's say you're spending more than you want to, like, what is your recalibration? Like you're like, we're not eating out, or we're not going to like live events. Like, what is your pullback? Or you don't buy, I mean, do you buy coffee out? Is that something that you do?
I do here and there. Yeah.
So what if you're like, we got to cut back? Like, what is that thing
Like,
that
what
you're not going
goes?
to do? Yeah.
I think it's the big expenses. I think for myself, you know, we've budgeted. I have a lot of margin. Like, so for us, it's not that big of a deal. Granted, I'm a physician that makes a decent salary. I have a big shovel, if you will.
But you don't do something like, all right, we're shopping at Food Lion this week, not Wegmans. Like, it's not something like like a shift like that.
No Wegmans for a month.
Hey. When
Whole
I'm
Foods.
making my Sunday sauce, I go to Aldi. All right, so like to get all my cans for tomato sauce and stuff too. So
All right. Well, I thank you for your time.
Yeah.
That
Yes,
was
thank you so
great.
much.
I
That
think
was enlightening.
that was done in a very relatable way.
Yeah.
So I personally thank you, my new financial advisor.
Yeah. When's our next meeting? All right. Well, thank you to Dr. John, and until next time.
Yes. All right. Happy savings. Thanks for tuning in to Joint Effort PAs. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a fellow PA or med-minded friend. You can also follow us on Instagram at Joint Effort PAs for updates and extra content. See you next time.